Ladies and gentlemen, presenting the 235-member Michigan Marching Band. Band, take the field. Under the direction of Professor Jamie L. Nix, the M Fanfare.
All right. I plan to cam up for this one. Let me see if I can activate my camera. There we go. Eureka. All right. Hey, welcome to Big Discussions 76 Sports. You guys know who I am. First of all, please like this stream. Please share it. And hey, please subscribe. I was going to do this last night around 8:30 after I took my walk in the evening. But before I get into that, Nate the Great King, don't be late, also known as Nate Kingston. Don't start that, because the Buckeye fans are going to come in here and raise hell the way they have under some of my other videos. Somehow Ohio State seems the fans, they find their way over here. And some of the Buckeye fans are actually nice, but some of them are pretty ruthless. otherwise. But a little trash talk is okay. So Nate, if you want to talk trash to Buckeye fan, go ahead, have at it. But it wasn't me, as Trump said. It wasn't me. It has nothing to do with me. So I decided to cam up for this one. I think that it's on some of my other channels and with some of the other crowds I run in here on the YouTube streets. We like to use avatars, but I think for sports, I think people want more of a connection with the content creator. So I'm going to cam up. And so I was going to do this last night, but then I realized that the presidential debate was coming on at 9 o'clock. And of course, I'm not as popular as our current president or Joe Biden. So I decided, okay, well, I'm going to put this off until the morning, which was actually okay because I'm on my lunch break right now. And it's kind of hard the last couple of weeks I've done live streams on my other channel, starting around 8:30 at night and then going until 11:30. So I only intend to be on for an hour or so because this is my lunch break. But if some people come in and watch the show and they want to come up on into the stream and kind of, talk back and forth about what's going to happen tomorrow when things kick off and for the next 8 weeks, I'll open it up if other folks come through. But I don't know who all is going to come through. It's lunchtime. It's on a Friday. A lot of folks are probably working. But I was, with the time constraints, and I did not have another pre-recorded video in me. It takes time to shoot content. It takes time to edit it. It takes time to add in the pictures. And now I know how to add in the music. And all of that takes time. So I decided, now that I know how to use StreamYard, to just do a live stream and give my discussion points on Old Khaki Pants, Dr. Defense, and Speed and Space Josh. And, I decided to do it this way for this particular one. Before I dive in here, I want to say that after being a YouTuber for, going on 2 years, this channel is less than a year old, but my original channel is going on 2 years. I've realized that growth on YouTube when you're a little guy is about collaboration. So if anyone is watching this live or on the playback, could be from another one of the Big Ten schools. Hey, it could be from another one of the Power 5 schools. Or if you have a sports channel and you want to collaborate in live stream formats like this, let me know. In all of my videos, I show a credit slide, and I have an email address there. But I think, I know, my original channel, my science channel, have grown because I've collaborated with others. So there's a huge networking component to YouTube, which is social media. So it's all about networking. So thank you for watching. If you're watching this for the first time, if you're on my channel for the first time, please like the video, please share it. Please subscribe if you're back from watching me before. If I haven't run you off, please like this video and share as well. Well, it's been interesting, since I did my first live stream. It was before, I think it was back in August when they first announced that the Big Ten would go forward with, I think, a 10-game season. And then they snatched it away. And, we were all left in suspense for 2 months. And then something told me, they can't can the thing for the whole season. They've got to do something. They got to at least play some of the games. And fortunately, lo and behold, they did. They decided it was worth the risk. The NBA bubble went forward. The NFL went forward. They started playing Major League Baseball. They were playing soccer in other countries. The WNBA played, and the ACC and the SEC and the Big 12, they decided that they were going to go ahead and play. And fortunately, the Big Ten decided that they would play as well with conditions. I was watching Steve Dace and that gentleman from the Ohio State fan base the other day. Make sure I can get my Michigan in this camera. And so apparently the Big Ten has its own, now my head's cut off. The Big Ten has its own rules that if a player tests positive, I think that the team is down for 3 weeks or something like that, something janky like that. So it's going to be really important that they're testing accurately, and it's going to be important that the players and the coaching staffs and the support staffs try not to get the thing at all, because I think they're being a little more liberal with it over in the SEC. But the way the Big Ten and Kevin Warren and those guys wrote up the conditions for our teams to play, they're going to be ultra conservative if by chance someone tests positive. So keep your fingers crossed that none of our Big Ten players or coaches or the support staff test positive, and perhaps if they and perhaps that the Big Ten will relax their conservative approach to whether or not someone tests positive. Okay, so we're back for 8 games. I just brought us in with the Victors. I think the Victors is considered public domain because it hasn't gotten copyright claimed on any of my videos, and Steve Dace uses that. Just briefly, the last couple of videos I shot on this channel, we just finished the NBA bubble. Yes, my Clippers lost. But the last couple of videos, I tried to run through all of, as much as I could, the Michigan position groups and the phases of the game. So I started with Super Joe. I think that's my nickname for Joe Milton, Super Joe, until he proves otherwise. But I started with the quarterback position, and then I ran through the wide receiver core. Of course, we lost Nico Collins. We lost Dylan McCaffrey through competition and also this COVID stuff. But we lost Nico. That's a huge loss. He was an NFL caliber wide receiver, and it's going to be hard to replace him and his experience. I think we have Cornelius Johnson. I think that's his name. He's a tall kid. He's probably the tallest kid in the receiving core now. But Nico had that experience. He'd gone up and gotten several balls for us. So I did the wide receiver core. I also did the running backs group. That's a young group. We have Chris Evans back, which I think is a good thing. And both Hassan Haskins and Zach Charbonnet have more experience. So I think the big thing for, as I said in that video, the big thing for the running backs group is going to be to actually make plays. We're going to need them to make plays, to turn the ball upfield and not be shy about it. And, turn that shoulder into an Ohio State defender and just make plays, assert yourself. Do the things that the coaches can't draw up. And that's what Urban Meyer said last year on Fox Sports. There's only a certain number of the coaches can affect the game to an extent, but the players have to make plays. Also, we need them to not put the ball on the turf. That killed a lot of our drives last year, and I think it hurt the momentum of our offense last year, among other things. But we need the running backs to make plays and not turn the ball over. I think that was the take home from that video. I did the offensive line. It's going to be a young offensive line aside from Jalen Mayfield. Fortunately, he came back, so he's going to be the dean of the offensive line. I don't know what the starting 5 is going to be, but with their physical talent, they have tremendous upside. And if they can gel together and assert themselves and not get themselves penalized, I think that would give Joe nice protection to, do what he can do. He can run, he can throw. And I think that there's a lot of upside for this offensive line. I'm going to read a comment here from Abdul Gaines. I think that if a player or coach gets coronavirus, the game they are slated to play will be declared a non-contest. Okay. And so then I did the offensive line, and then I did there just wasn't time to go through the defensive line and then the linebackers and the secondary players. So I did one video capturing the defense and our special teams. So I think, in summary, I think for the defense, I think we're going to get what we've gotten. Don plays an aggressive style. He likes to blitz. He likes to leave his corners out on islands. And he likes that Viper position. I looked that up, by the way. The Viper that's a linebacker who can go and put his hands on the dirt, but he can also drop back into coverage and do those kinds of things. So Don likes that. So I think we're going to get what we've gotten from the defense. And assuming we get good special teams play in terms of the kicking game, I think we're going to get what we got. I think that in terms of I think Sandra still is going to be the punt coverage, the punt returner. And I think one of the young guys is going to be the kick returner. I got that mixed up from my video, but I think one of the key things I said in that video about the special teams and the defense is not shooting ourselves in the foot in key situations. I'm not singling out Khalid Hudson, but Khalid Hudson had two key penalties in punt situations last year. The first was against Army. That gave them a first down, and I think that put that game into overtime, or that play led that game going into overtime. And if we had lost that game to Army, that would have been chaotic. All of you anti-Harbaugh folks, that probably would have been that would have probably led to more calls for his head going on a platter. Hold on a second. Let me mute this over here. And then the second one, come on. Okay. So then the second costly Khalid Hudson penalty was in the Ohio State game. Our defense Our defense did what it was supposed to do. It bottled up Justin Fields and J.K. Dobbins in that offensive line in 3 downs, and Ohio State was punting. And Khalid Hudson, like he did in the Army game, he lined up in the neutral zone, and that got Ohio State that automatic first down. I think 1 or 2 plays later, Justin Fields did what Justin Fields does, and he threw a strike in the end zone. So our defense, our special teams cannot do things like that will cause us to shoot ourselves in the foot. So those were my Harbaugh nepotism video. Shout out to Gary. Gary's one of my most loyal subscribers, and he comments under every video pretty much. He's not a Harbaugh fan. I'm sorry, old khaki pants. He's not a fan of old khaki pants. And Gary suggested that Jay Harbaugh shouldn't be coaching our running backs, and Jay Harbaugh is not qualified to man the positions that he's been manning. So I shot a video asking the question, is there Harbaugh nepotism? So that was a fun one. I hope Jimmy and Jay don't look at that because I want to see them succeed. But hey, it's a good question. Has nepotism? Should someone else be in there coaching those running backs besides Jay Harbaugh? And I think Ty Wheatley was our running backs coach our first 2 years. His son, Ty Wheatley Jr., who's from Buffalo, by the way, is a 6'6" tight end. And Jay Harbaugh coached that group the first 2 years. And both those guys are gone. Father and son are both gone. So has the nepotism hurt our program? So moving on. This season is going to be unique in that this is the first time that a Jim Harbaugh recruit is going to be starting at quarterback. Just bear with me 1 second here. I just learned how to do the screen share a little while ago. Shout out to Nicole Ali for teaching me how to do that. So I think you guys should be able to see that. I'm looking at my phone here as I'm doing this. So it says StreamYard is sharing your window. Aha, yeah, there we go. There we go. So my phone's on a bit of a delay. So we're gonna do a little slideshow here. So what Jimmy did, which I think, he probably meant well, but I think ultimately it's hurt the program in a way, is that when he came in, he decided to bring in Jake Rudock as his starting QB. So Jake came in and he started Jake over Shane Morris. He started him over Wilton Speight. And if you ask me, I think Wilton Speight should have got the start from day one. Wilton had the height, he had a strong arm, and I thought that, in hindsight, if you had let Wilton grow into the position, he would have paid dividends for us. So Jake got the start the first year. Jake started slow. He made some good throws as the season went on, but I think that it would have been much better for Jim to put in Wilton Speight and give one of the guys who was already there a chance to play. Year 2, 2016, Jake Rudock goes, Wilton Speight gets the start. And I thought that went well up until the Iowa game down in Iowa City. We lost that game by 1 point. And I think that the weakness in that 2016 team was the inability of our offensive line to get push on third down or just on downs period late in the games. And I think that's what we needed down in Iowa City. As a result, late in the game, you're relying on Wilton to drop back and hit J.U. Chesson or Amar Darbo or Jake Butt for first downs. But to win football, you win football by running the ball. And I think that was a major weakness in that game. I thought that also reared its head early, or should I say that reared its head in the Ohio State game 2 weeks later. I thought that late in that game, we could have just moved the ball on the ground. We would have put that game away, despite Wilton's pick six and despite all the holding calls that were missed on the Ohio State offensive line, and despite Jim's meltdowns, because Jim did have a couple of meltdowns in that game. But also keep in mind that we lost Grant Newsome, and that was a huge loss on the offensive line. But I thought Wilton played good enough that second year to get us into the playoff before he broke his collarbone. Wilton came back the next year. A lot of those parts from the Brady Hoke team were gone. And we had a younger, less efficient, less protective offensive line. Wilton had a shaky start. And then in the Purdue game, one of those Purdue players hit him from behind. He injured his back, and Wilton was gone. Enter in John O'Korn and Brandon Peters. I think John O'Korn won that Purdue game for us. But over the next 2 to 3 games, even though John O'Korn was another grad transfer, he was inconsistent. And there was something John O'Korn was missing. If you go back to that Michigan State game that year, it was raining, it was blustering, all those different things. If you go back to that, we lost to Michigan State 14-10. And the entire game, I was waiting, and I'm sure the rest of our fan base was waiting for just another touchdown. We just needed another touchdown to win that game 17-14. But John couldn't get it for us. Who knows? I don't know why. Was he was a grad transfer, he was experienced. So you would have thought that he had the goods to pull a game out like that, but he didn't have what we needed. And I think after that game, okay, I have another comment here from Abdul Gaines. It says, I still can't believe it's taken until 6 years for Harbaugh to start his own recruit. That's a good point. So I think at that point, Jimmy and the staff had seen enough. So then that's when Brandon Peters got the start. Brandon Peters played okay against some soft competition. He got Rutgers and he got Minnesota. Most of those games he was handing off to Karan Higdon and Chris Evans. And then Brandon got knocked out of the Wisconsin game. I thought the Wisconsin, whoever that linebacker was, put a vicious hit on him. Really drove Brandon into the turf and knocked him out for pretty much the rest of the season until the bowl game. And so then against Ohio State, here's a picture right here. We were back with John O'Corn. And John played really well in that game. We lost the game, obviously. But John, the Michigan team, no matter how bad of a game it's playing, or no matter how bad of a season it's playing, in that game, the team tends to rise to the occasion. And I thought John played well enough in that 2017 Ohio State game to get us the win. I don't think Ohio State had a strong offense that year. There were some plays that were left on the field. I remember Rashawn Gary, one of Abdul Gaines' favorite players. I remember Rashawn Gary getting a clean shot at JT Barrett. Didn't knock him down, didn't tackle him. JT Barrett got away. And then JT Barrett got hurt. And then Dwayne Haskins came in. And you know what? I remember that game. I remember we were all at Buffalo Wild Wings, and I was thinking, okay, Dwayne Haskins is coming in. JT Barrett's going out. They have an inexperienced quarterback in there. We're going to get this game. Nope. Dwayne Haskins turned into a gamer, and Dwayne Haskins was moving the ball much better through the air than JT Barrett was. So Dwayne Haskins made it a game, and then, I got that sickening feeling like this is going to go down to the last few minutes, and we're probably going to lose it. And then on the last series, John O'Corn got what you wanted. Our team, our offense had the ball, with maybe 2 or so minutes to drive the ball down the field to win the game, which is what you want. And I didn't go back and look at the replay. It makes me sick, just like the JT Barrett first down. But John O'Corn lofted that ball up to a receiver. It might have been Eddie McDoom. And there was no Michigan wide receiver close to where that ball was coming down. And it was one of those slow motion plays where you're like, oh God, I know this isn't happening. And sure enough, the ball dropped right into the hands of an Ohio State defensive back, and that was the game. So we were in Jim's first 3 Ohio State games, we were in 2 of those games. The first one, they had all their team back, like Ezekiel Elliott, Cardale. So we were overmatched, but we were in the 2016 game and the 2017 game. 2018, the revenge tour. Enter in Shea. Now, since I started this channel, we've beat up Shea a little bit. But we have to remember this was old Khaki Pants' decision to bring this guy in to start over Joe Milton and to start over Brandon Peters and to start over Dylan McCaffrey. Shout out to Abdul Gaines. Abdul Gaines said, why don't we just throw Dylan McCaffrey in there? But Jim saw something in this graduate transfer, and he whatever he saw, he decided that Shea was much better than Dylan McCaffrey, Brandon Peters, or Joe Milton, and decided that this was going to be our guy. I remember that Notre Dame game on the season opener. I was waiting to see what all the buzz was about, and that game was pretty much what we saw from Shea for a good amount of his career. He managed the game. He had good ball skills, as Jim liked. He could do the read option, fake handoff thing. But I didn't really see any spectacular throws in that game. And that was another game in 2018 where we just needed one more touchdown to beat Notre Dame. Notre Dame came out. It was Brandon Wimbush. They had success moving the ball earlier, and then Don's defense clamped down. Don's defense did a good job in that game. They clamped down on Notre Dame's offense, but we just needed one touchdown to win that game, and we didn't get it. We had some close victories that year. I think the team's next loss wasn't until going down to the snake pit against Ohio. I had to throw one of those Brady Hoke Ohio's in there. We didn't lose again until going down to Ohio, and that revenge tour team. It wasn't an explosive offensive team. I think it had the potential to do that, which I'm going to come back to. But we had some close victories over Northwestern. I think I went to the Michigan State game that year. That was my first time up at Spartan Stadium. That was a fun time. The game got delayed because of the weather, but they eventually pulled that game out. Donovan Peoples-Jones caught a touchdown pass. But there was a lot of dink and dunk that season. There was a lot of handing off to Karan Higdon. There was a lot of read option, a lot of ball fakes, but there weren't a lot of deep balls. Even though we had Donovan Peoples-Jones and Nico Collins, Tariq Black was hurt for most of that year, but you also had a 6'8" tight end in Zach Gentry. And I think that came back in the Ohio State game down at the Snake Pit. And I hate to do it. I mean, I've beat up Jimmy and I've beat up Don on this channel. And these are, these men are getting paid millions of dollars, and they're paid professionals, and they know a hell of a lot more about football than I do. But the revenge tour Ohio State game, I think, lays at the feet of the coaching staff. I thought Jim could have called a more aggressive game. I thought that's the game on the biggest stage. You open it up. You throw aggressively to Nico Collins. You throw aggressively to Donovan Peoples-Jones. Tariq Black was back. You don't expect a lot from him, but you throw aggressively to Zach Gentry. And I think, if I recall correctly, Ohio State was weak that year in the secondary. So those would have been high percentage plays. But nope. And you can go back and look at Steve Dace's replay. You can go back and look back at Steve Dace's program after that game on the Michigan podcast. Jimmy decided to keep trying to run the ball into the line. Now that's cool. And teams have won with that in the past. I'm thinking about Bill Parcells and the New York Giants, who beat my Buffalo Bills in Super Bowl 25. Bill Parcells made his living with smash mouth ball control football. So if your offensive line is imposing itself at the point of attack, yes, you can ultimately wear down a defense and you can start to move the ball on the ground. But with Chase Young at linebacker and with the athletes that Ohio State had, they were smothering our running game. And I don't know why to this day. Again, Jim's a paid professional. He's getting millions. He knows a lot more football than I'll ever know, but I don't understand why he didn't open the game plan up and throw down to Nico Collins and Zach Gentry and Donovan Peoples-Jones. That would have it would have stretched Ohio State's defense, and it would have probably opened up some running lanes for Shea Patterson and for Karan Higdon. And despite the bad game planning, we were still in that game at halftime. But again, it just, so half the game was on offense, was poor planning, half that game was poor scheming on offense, and the other half was poor scheming on defense. Now, I haven't finished John U. Bacon's book Overtime. I believe in there, Chase Winovich said that we did actually go back and try to play zone, but Ohio State shredded it. But it seemed to me, Don blitzed most of that game. I mean, that was his bread and butter. That's what got us there. But again, I think that on the biggest stages against your most formidable opponent, you have to have a plan B. And you have to come with something different. And all day early on, Dwayne Haskins was playing pitch and catch with Chris Olave and the other receivers. Rashawn Gary and Chase Winovich and whoever else was in that front seven, they were within a hair of Dwayne Haskins most of that day, but he was getting the ball out just in time. And when he didn't do that, he was running a little bit himself. And Dwayne wasn't the most fleet-footed guy. He's playing down here now for the Washington football team, and he just got benched. But he was playing pitch and catch most of that day. And again, so going back to the New York Giants, my gold standard for game plans and adjusting is Bill Belichick and his defense that he played against our K-gun offense. Bill Belichick was smart enough to say, okay, the Buffalo Bills, they have this K-gun offense, they have this no huddle. I'm going to come in and play 8 or 9 defensive backs with 2 down linemen. The Bills figured that out, I think, in the second half, but it was too late. And I'm just saying that to say that I thought that Don should have come into that game prepared to do something else. And I thought he should have came prepared to make adjustments for whatever Ohio State was going to do. I'm going to read another comment here. This one is from GD Dr. CO. Agreed. It seems like Harbaugh doesn't look carefully at play statistics like Meyer or Day. So Urban Meyer or Ryan Day. He just keeps pounding his football ideology. But in his defense, that's what they did to that's how they played under Bo. And when he got to Stanford, I think it was Toby Gerhart at Stanford, they pounded the ball even though they had Andrew Luck. And then once he got to the San Francisco 49ers, Frank Gore got a lot of touches every game. And they came close to winning that Super Bowl in the Harbaugh Bowl. So in his defense, that has worked. But I think in the biggest stage, you have to let your players play. And so I very much think that players like Nico Collins and Zach Gentry and Donovan Peoples-Jones, I think they were wasted. We didn't get the best out of them, and we haven't gotten any Big Ten titles, no appearances in the Big Ten championship game, and no trips to the college football playoff. Jim has had the horses. We've had the horses in there, but I think that was one where they kind of fumbled the ball. And then I think at some point in the second half of that game, I think the team's back just got broken, and I think at some point players give up. And players went out. Some players went out with injuries. Shea got suplexed on the turf, and he had to go out. I think Chase Winovich went out. I think Rashawn Gary eventually tapped out. I think Devin Bush eventually, he was chasing somebody out of bounds, and Devin Bush went. I remember him going face first into the turf out of bounds, and then eventually he went out. And then I think everybody on the sideline, I think everybody in the fan base was just wanting it to be over. Of course, all the Buckeye fans, they were celebrating. We were watching that game at Buffalo Wild Wings on Niagara Falls Boulevard, and we had to listen to Schloopy. Buckeye fan, they co-opted that song. Hey, Schloopy. Schloopy, can't come on. O-H-I-O. Nauseating to hear that every time. Just nauseating. Okay, we have some more comments here. G Dr. CO, absolutely wasted is an appropriate term. Alexander Dilworth, I was trying to be nice. I don't know what that's referring to. Leo Aliaga. Leo Aliaga, biggest fan. Appreciate that. Hey, if there are any newcomers watching this, please hit the like. Please subscribe to the channel. think my slideshow is almost finished here. Of course, we know Jim's got the pedigree. He was the prodigal son. He played for Bo, and I'm sure that Jim's coaching DNA was very much impacted by Bo, who is the father and the grandfather of Michigan football in the modern era, at least. But even Bo gets it as well. Bo only won X amount of Rose Bowls. Bo only won, I think, did Bo even win a national championship? I don't know. You guys let me know in the chat. Leo Aliaga said, I'm presenting in school and I'm very embarrassed. Okay. So that brings us to this season. This is what we got now. So Jim made the executive decision to start number 2 rather than give number 5, or I think Dylan was number 10. He made the executive decision to start Shea over Joe and Dylan. And I think that what we're going to see with Joe, unless you're, Ben Roethlisberger being drafted by the Pittsburgh Steelers and having that success his first year, the quarterback position is usually a position that you have to grow into. And so either Joe's going to hit the ground running or there are going to be some growing pains. But either way, and again, we've beaten up old khaki pants on this channel quite a bit. And I want to see old khaki pants do it. He's a good face for the program. He's the prodigal son. But your Steve Dace said this, I think, in his program, that these games are in large part decided by the quarterback you have back there. And for whatever he saw in Shea Patterson, he thought it was enough to seat his 2 recruits who were uber talented and make them watch for 2 years before Shea ran out of eligibility. And I think that there was even talk that he was trying to get Shea to come back or to get the NCAA to get the NCAA to give Shea 1 more year. Fortunately, that didn't happen. And I'm not dogging Shea. He played the position. He's more talented than me, but I think that the best move would have been to give one of the younger guys a chance to grow into the role and to get that confidence for the years going forward. So Jim's tenure is going to, in large part, be impacted by his decisions at quarterback, in addition to his coaching decisions. I hear that Jim is very, very loyal. He's loyal to his assistants, and he's loyal to his players, especially his seniors. And I think that one of the hardest things for a coach who is pro seniority is to sit that senior or that veteran in favor of a younger guy. So I've never coached, but I know that's got to be hard. It's got to be hard for the senior, and it's got to be hard for the coach who has a bond with that player. But ultimately, you have to think about what's best for the team. And you have to think about getting the win. I have a comment here from Trepa Coles. Isaiah Hole said yesterday on his podcast that not even Belichick could get Michigan past Ohio State, which he referred to as Mount Everest. Do you agree? I think that thinking is excusing Jim. There's a comment here from Alexander Dilworth, newcomer to the show. I hope that Michigan keeps him. He's a decent coach, and Ohio State gets a win against the team up north every year. Leo Aliaga, we need to beat Ohio. I think you're saying beat. And then Alexander Dilworth says, I'm thinking Jim is not as good as you think he is. What if he's not a quarterback whisperer? What if no matter where Luck went, he was going to decay? He's going to decry. Great. Just a question. Well, okay. So I'm going to do Trevor Cole's question first, which was about Bill Belichick. And the question is, how good a coach is Bill Belichick? We know that he's won a lot of Super Bowls with the Patriots, and he's had Tom Brady as quarterback. But isn't it interesting that most of the Patriots' Super Bowl wins have been by slim margin, just like Super Bowl 25? So that's something that I've noticed about the New England Patriots under Bill Belichick, is that they've got those Super Bowl wins aside from those 2 losses to the New York Giants, but they haven't been convincing wins. I know the Patriot fans might want to come and get me for that one, but I think the whole point about Belichick that I was making about Super Bowl 25 against my Buffalo Bills was that he made adjustments and he thought out ahead of time about how I could confuse the Buffalo Bills offense. To me, that's coaching. It's not saying, okay, this is how we play, this is how we do, and we're just going to make the other team adjust to what we do. I think solid coaching, one key aspect of it is making adjustments ahead of time to proactively defeat your opponent. And then what's probably harder is to make the adjustments in game in real time. So that was my whole point about the Belichick thing. So it could be that, Belichick couldn't beat Ohio State. But I think that, again, it goes back to adjustments. Abdul Gaines said, tomorrow's game is vital for the Wolverines. Jim has to win tomorrow. I think if the Wolverines lose to Minnesota tomorrow night, the season goes sideways immediately. Leo Aliaga, do you think that Joe Milton will get drafted in the first round just because of hype? Well, he has to show what he can do. But I want to go back to who said, someone asked a question about whether or not Jim is the quarterback whisperer and whether or not he is that guy. Well, the best I could say, based upon what I've seen, is a maybe. Jake Rudock started slow. He played a decent season for us. He played good enough. Wilton Spate had a good second year until he broke his collarbone. Jim couldn't get a lot out of John O'Korn. John O'Korn had happy feet, and John O'Korn, to be a grad transfer, that means he was experienced. That means he had years under his belt in a Power 5. No. John O'Korn came from Houston, but he was experienced. Jim didn't get the best out of John O'Korn. Brandon Peters is tough to say because he got knocked out, and then Jim brought in Shea. But even Shea was kind of mediocre. So it's tough to say if he's the quarterback whisperer per se. But let's go back to we can't count Andrew Luck because I think Jim might have had him for 1 or 2 years. He had a good year the year Jim left for the San Francisco 49ers. And then Andrew Luck, I think, graduated and went pro. But now we got to look back at Colin Kaepernick. Colin took the NFL by storm. And he was electric to watch. But either the NFL figured out Colin Kaepernick or Jim did not develop Colin Kaepernick to go to that next level. We certainly know that Colin had all of the physical tools. He could run. He had a funny looking throwing motion, but Colin could throw the ball. But after the 49ers gave Colin all of that money, he did not turn into the franchise quarterback that they needed him to be. And of course, we know that Jim had problems with the front office, Jed York and Trent Baalke. And we know that that Super Bowl roster eventually got stripped down to the bare bones. And then by Colin's last year, most of the players that were on the team with him when he went to the Super Bowl were gone. But the fact still remains that Jim was there for another 2 to 3 years after they went to the Super Bowl, and Colin did not continue to develop to get to at least, I'll say it, at least even the guy he replaced, Alex Smith, or someone else. I mean, I don't want to say Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, because those are the top tier guys, but you need a Colin to progress past just being the read option running guy, and he didn't do that. And that was on Jim's watch. So I'm almost through with my slideshow here. So Dylan was a casualty of Jim deciding to take Shea and play Shea over him and Joe Milton. And this is going to be our guy for this season. And he's got all the physical tools on paper. He can run. He can throw. And in my video about Joe, they've had to work on his short and intermediate routes. So he can throw a little bit too much. But how is he going to grow into the position? I think a lot of that's going to be impacted by the pass protection he gets. A lot of that's going to be impacted by how the running backs play, the run blocking he gets, if they can secure the ball and not kill drives. As we're marching down the field like they did last season, a lot of that's going to depend on the wide receiver core. They're going to be able to pull his balls in, and will he have a deep threat to throw to? I think we have a big receiver. It's Cornelius Johnson, I believe. He's a young guy. So will he be able to go up and get those jump balls? So will we even have that aspect of our offense this season? I think Nick Eubanks is going to play a big role. He's the dean of the tight ends. So I think he's a big kid, Nick Eubanks. So I think there are a lot of unknowns. It's going to be a young offense. And but Joe definitely has the physical tools and the attributes to step in and play the position, which, in my opinion, him or Dylan should have been given the chance to play the position about 2 to 3 years ago. And that's gonna, again, whatever happens with Jim going forward, when we look back at history, he decided to bring in the grad transfers. And then the other question is, how long will we have Joe? I think he's got, in terms of eligibility, he's got 2 years left, maybe 2 to 3. But if he shows that he could play at the NFL level and the coaching staff mismanages him, why won't he leave early like Donovan Peoples-Jones did? So I think this is a critical stretch. Abdul Gaines says, if we see this season result in another loss to Ohio State, another non-placement in the Big Ten title game, it's time to jettison Harbaugh. Leo Aliglia says, do you think Minnesota has the firepower to beat Michigan if Bateman is not on his A game? And Dr. C.O. Says the Wolverines defense is going to exert a lot of pressure on Minnesota to make early throws. The game will hinge on Minnesota's O-line response and their receivers' ability to run and convert short routes. I agree with Abdul Gaines about the Ohio State, another Ohio State loss, but as I've said before, it's a much more complex thing for someone like Ward Manuel, because the athletic director, well, especially after this year with COVID and with at least the stadiums not being filled, I think our athletic department sent an email out so that fans won't be able to come to the games. They might relax that at some point and let some fans into the big house, but going forward, economics is going to play a huge role in whatever gets decided, because the athletic director is not just concerned about, he has to be concerned about whether or not the football team is winning, but he has to be concerned about the overall financial health of the athletic department. And that's in large part determined by whether or not your stadium is sold out, and whether or not merchandise is being sold, and whether or not the luxury boxes are sold out, and whether or not alumni are donating to the athletic department. So it's much more complex and nuanced than we hate Jim, we want Jim out of here, he's not getting the job done. It's much more nuanced for athletic directors. And I agree about the defense, but that's gonna the trick with Don's defense is how quickly can the quarterback get the ball out of his fingers, and can he hit his receivers accurately? So we're going to see certainly the weakness in our defense is the corners. We lost Ambry Thomas, and we're going to be relying on the front seven to do much of the heavy lifting for most of this season, if not early on. Dr. CO says the other factor will be Michigan's O-line and our stable of backs. Everyone is putting the pass game as the most important issue. I don't agree. Leo Aliaga says 120. Leo Aliaga says we beat Iowa at least. AOL. Okay, so I think, so how's Jim going to handle Joe? I think we want Joe to stay as long as he can stay, but Jim's going to have to let the kid use his talent. Hopefully Jim keeps his hands off the offense a little more and lets Josh Gaddis, Mr. Speed and Space, do what he needs to do. This is our schedule. I'm not going to go over this game by game, but there are a lot of winnable games here. Of course, the big one is at the end. And a lot of this, and just for the conference in general, hopefully all the players and the coaches stay healthy and they don't get infected, because this whole thing could crumble like a deck of cards if there are infections all over the place. There was in my Gmail account, I got an email, or maybe it was my smartphone, about a notice saying that Washtenaw County was put on especially the students at the university were put on a stay-in-place order. So I don't know what that means, but hopefully all of the Big Ten schools are going to keep their football teams bottled up for the most part, and the players don't do anything stupid like some of the LA Clippers did in the NBA bubble. So we're starting off with Minnesota. Cal U's coming the next week. We're going to Indiana. Wisconsin's coming down to the big house. The Wolverines go to Rutgers, which was a hotbed for the coronavirus for a little while, that New York City metro area. Penn State's coming in, Maryland's coming in, then we go down to the Snake Pit. I think that's the last. Brutus had to throw Brutus in here. A lot of it's going to hinge on what happens with these guys right here. There's the Snake Pit. Nice sunny day at the Snake Pit. Hopefully we can. The team, again, at this point, they're the bully. They're the bully on the block. They're the strongest team in the conference. And I think my message going forward is that every team who plays Ohio State, unless you're Clemson, when you're the weaker team, you're going to have to play a near perfect game to beat these guys. So we cannot have the fumbles. We cannot have the missed extra points. We can't have the dropped balls by the wide receivers and the tight ends. And we can't have the Khalik Hudson plays, the ones where we give the first downs away. They're just too good to be able to pull something like that off. So our team has to play a near perfect game to have just a chance to beat Ohio State. This is our guy. I kind of went over all this. Jay's in charge of the running backs. There's Cam McGrone. I'm going to stop this here And I want to go over some of the stats. Okay. End show. So I'm going to go back here. Hey guys, I want to thank everyone who's watched. I'm going to do something I haven't done on Big Discussions 76 Sports before, but this is a part of YouTube, especially when you're using something like StreamYard. If anyone, hold on. Anyone wants to make a donation, whether it be $1 or whatever, my Cash App is right there in the chat. You don't have to do it. You're not under any pressure to do it. I didn't bring you guys in here to ask you for money. But if you want to support the channel and, some of these things do cost. So if you want to make a donation, that's my Cash App. The one last thing I wanted to do before I open it up and invite anyone up who wants to come. So I want to go over the rankings how each team ranked out from last season. So I'm going to share the screen one more time because I thought this would be interesting to look at. Application window, share here. Okay. So I just wanted to go briefly over the standings in terms of scoring offense from last year. So this is, I'm just going to do this just briefly because the clock is ticking here. So what's that doing? Okay. So last season, in terms of scoring offense, Ohio State had they scored an average of 47 points per game. Michigan scored an average last year of 32 points per game. Okay. So we know Ohio State whipped everybody in terms of scoring offense. Scoring defense, Ohio State gave up an average of 14 points per game. We gave up an average of 21 points per game. So we gave up a whole touchdown. We gave up I'm losing my I can't articulate this. We gave up a touchdown more than Ohio State did. So total offense, look at this. Ohio State had an average of 523 yards per game, and we had an average of 402 yards per game. So they scored, so their yardage was about 20% greater than ours. Of course, that was hurt by the turnovers, the drop balls, all those things. And I don't understand why last season, why Nico Collins wasn't targeted more. I don't know if Shea wasn't looking down the field. I don't know if that was Josh Gaddis. I don't know if that was Jimmy doing something, but that's a huge disparity. 412 yards. I'm sorry, that's Penn State. 402 yards per game versus 530. That's a huge disparity. Total defense, Ohio State allowed 260 yards per game. Michigan allowed 307. So we allowed about 50 more yards than they did. Rush offense, Ohio State averaged 267 yards per game. That's a lot of yards per game. And Michigan, we averaged only 151. So they almost doubled our yards on the ground per game. Rush defense, Penn State led that. They only allowed 95 yards per game. Ohio State allowed 103 on average, and Michigan allowed 122. Pass offense, Purdue allowed the most pass yards per game at 310. Michigan, we allowed 251, and Ohio State allowed 263. So Ohio State's pass defense was a little more vulnerable than ours, if I'm reading that correctly. I'm just going to do a few more of these. No, pass offense. No, I read that wrong. Pass offense. So Purdue generated 310 yards per game. Ohio State generated 263, and we generated 251. And then pass defense. Okay, so Ohio State had the stingiest pass defense with 156 yards per game. And Michigan, we allowed 186 yards per game. I'll do two more, and then I will stop this because it's an hour. We're at an hour now. Ohio State, in terms of pass efficiency, they led the conference in pass efficiency with 180.5. And then we were about 40 points below them for pass efficiency at 138.2. I'm going to stop this here. So I'm going to go back to StreamYard. Okay. So we've got 12, looks like 12 watching. I'm going to, that sums it up. So the coaching staff on offense, they're going to have to let the players play, especially Joe. I believe in Ed Warner. I think he's a solid offensive line coach. I think Joe's going to get protection, but it's a young offense. The position groups, the running backs, the wide receivers, aside from Chris Evans and Nick Eubanks. And I think that the defense is going to give us what we've gotten. I don't have any reason to think the special teams will fall off that much. So I think once again, as has been throughout Jimmy's tenure, it's going to be what the offense is going to give us. That's going to dictate how well the team is going to do, assuming that there isn't an outbreak of the coronavirus and the whole thing just doesn't, implode. I'm going to leave the link here in the chat. If anyone wants to come up and say some words, you are welcome to do so. If not, I will shut down and get back to some other things that I have to do here because this is my lunch break and it's gone a little long. Let me check my email here. So if anyone wants to come up, I can see you immediately and you can talk back and forth with me and let me know what you think. Let's see. So, this could be, the end of Jimmy's tenure. I was looking through this before I started. This was prior to COVID. During Jim's tenure, I was going up for 1 or 2 games every season. I didn't go last year due to financial purposes and also due to I didn't like what I was seeing on TV. And had my money been a little bit better, I probably would have gone to the big house because I love going back to Ann Arbor. It's like going home. It's like going back in time every time, but I just didn't go last year. And so hey, Leo, I just lost you. Hit the link again and come back in. But this was from the Revenge Tour season. And on the cover, that's Tyree Kennel. And that's Josh Metellus. And that was, I think I went up to Michigan. I went up to the state twice that season. The first time was to see this game. Let me bring Leo back in. The first time was to see the Revenge Tour team play Maryland. I knew that was going to be a blowout. I think I missed homecoming because we had a big meeting at work, but I also treated myself to going to Spartan Stadium. I'd never been to Spartan Stadium. So I did see the Revenge Tour team play against Spartan Stadium, play against the Spartans in Spartan Stadium. That was fun to go up to East Lansing because I'd never been up to East Lansing. Leo, welcome. Let me make sure my volume is up here because I can't hear you. Leo, say something. Oh, you dropped again. Okay. So Leo, try to come up again. Everyone, the link is right there. If someone else wants to come up as well and say a few words, I will probably go out to 1:30. and then I'll shut things down because I have some other things to do here. I have a comment from Ann Arbor 94, which says, "Please tell everyone to let Coach Harbaugh work." You know what? You know what's been cool about this is that as many Tiki Torch Michigan fans there have been, as many Michigan fans who have wanted Jim's head on a platter, there are other Michigan fans who have said, "Hey, give him more time. Let him do his job." So we have a contingency that says, "Get him out of here." We have another contingency that says, "Give him more time. Let him do what he needs to do." I think that Jim he's had some challenges in terms of injuries and things that just went wrong, but we have the better word is probably constituency. We have two distinct constituencies in the Michigan fan base. So G2EZ, welcome.
Hello.
Hi. What do you have on this season?
Something's going on with my headphones.
Can you say that again?
Something's going on with my headphones. Something's weird.
You sound a little blurry. Okay, so those I have two guests who could not stay connected. So we have two distinct. Oh boy, here's the first one. The first Buckeye fan is here. Go Bucks! So and that's Zachary James, and I think love all your videos, by the way. Keep it up. Good luck to y'all this season. Yeah, same to you, Zachary, until that last game. And I appreciate all of the Buckeye fans who play well and play nice. Not all the Buckeye fans are mean. Some of them are nice people. And I'm not going to mention any more politics. I was going to make a political joke, but I lost a subscriber a month ago because I mentioned something political. But they have some cool folks down there in Columbus. And you know what? I've never been in the Horseshoe. So on my bucket list, I would like to go down to the Horseshoe to see a game. I've heard reports that the Horseshoe is kind of like the Raider Nation a little bit. So it's not safe for Michigan fans, and that some of the Buckeye fans can be pretty nasty. But then again, I've also heard stories that the Horseshoe isn't that bad. But when things are good and when we're past this virus, and at some point, I would like to go down to the Horseshoe to see the big game, just to say that I was there. I've been to Columbus once. Excuse me, for something else, but I've never been inside the Horseshoe, and it looks like a fun venue to watch a game. Leo Eliaga says, "Are you gonna react to the game?" I plan to. I'm not sure if I'll do it tomorrow night because it's going to end around. It starts at 7. It's going to end around 10:30 Eastern time. So I might do what John Ubacon and Jamie Morris used to do, and I might go in the morning sometime. But I definitely want to do a reaction to the game. Ann Arbor 94 says, "Definitely would love to go down to the shoe with my Tom Brady jersey on." You know what? I'm going to leave my Cash App again in case anyone wants to donate. You guys aren't under any pressure to do it. This is not a political fundraising campaign or anything. But if anyone wants to throw $1 in or whatever. I watched a couple of weeks ago Tom Brady's first Ohio State game. So the year they won the Rose Bowl, and there was that controversy with Nebraska and the sharing of the title. Greasy was the quarterback. And then the next year, Tom got the start. And I'd never watched that game before, but Ohio State won that game, Tom's junior year. And Tom didn't look impressive in that game, and I think that's a testament to having to grow into the position. But Tom, that game, Tom was throwing the ball high. He was, I think he had some happy feet in that game, and he was getting the ball out quick, and he was slinging it all over the place. So Tom's first Ohio State game in 1998, he did not look impressive. So my first year in Ann Arbor, which was Tom's senior year, we won the game. But I think that there's definitely something about having to grow into the position, which goes back to our current quarterbacks in the last couple of years since Jim took over, because he didn't let really any of his young guys grow into the position. He brought in Jake Rudock. He brought in Shea Patterson. And there's something about growing into that position, in my opinion. I'm going to leave the link one more time. I'm going to go about 16 more minutes. And if no one comes up, I will close it down exactly at 1:30. I want to say I appreciate everyone who's here, everyone who's come through. My first live stream, I think in early August, when they announced that the season was going to go forward the first time, that one got a bit of a tepid viewership, but that was my first live stream. That was my first time using StreamYard. So I want to thank everyone who's come in to watch this one. I plan to go live after every game this season. That's the goal. As another content creator says, God willing and the creek don't rise. And this weekend, the game it's a late game. So I will either go live immediately after the game, which would be a late night for me, or I will do it on Sunday morning. Let's see, more thoughts. Let's see, what else? What other thoughts do I have leading up to tomorrow's kickoff and on Jim's tenure? Abdul Gaines was in the chat a little bit earlier. Me and Abdul Gaines, we go back to Buffalo, New York. We're Buffalo kids, just like Tyrone Wheatley Jr. Was. And we went to Hutch Tech High School in Buffalo, New York, which was one of the top 2 high schools in Buffalo. It was a technical high school. But I'm going to shout out Abdul Gaines. Abdul Gaines was a Michigan fan back in the early 1990s. That would have been when Coach Mo took over for Bo. That would have been the Elvis Gerback teams. That would have been the Desmond Howard teams in the early 1990s. And I remember we were in class, and Abdul Gaines had his Michigan gear. I think that was also the Fab Five era. Chris Webber, Jawan Howard, Jalen Rose, Ray Jackson, and Jimmy King. I remember watching those NCAA tournament games. But I didn't become a Michigan fan. I remember seeing the winged helmets on TV, but I didn't watch the football during that era because, as part of my personal story, even I didn't start watching football until the Buffalo Bills got really good, which wasn't until the late 1980s. Of course, we went to the Super Bowl each of my 4 years of high school. That's something that made my 4 years of high school. Should I say that's something that makes my 4 years of high school memorable? The fact that our NFL team went to the Super Bowl each of those 4 years. Unfortunately, we didn't win any of those games, but our team went to the Super Bowl each of those 4 years. And so that's when I really started watching football. And there weren't a lot of men around when I was growing up, so I didn't watch football, and I didn't try to play football until my junior year of high school. And by that point, it was kind of late to put on a helmet and to put on shoulder pads and to start hitting and getting hit. And I quit. I think I quit after the first week because I wasn't used to that. And that's going to be in a book that I'm working on about my high school basketball experience, because some of the greatest lessons I learned about life and how to be successful are from athletics. But and we've seen a lot of those lessons play out under Jim Harbaugh's coaching tenure. You can plan things out, you can start things out with optimism and hoping things will go well. But hey, injuries happen, as happened with Grant Newsome. Injuries happened with Wilton Speight. That first year, we lost Ryan Glasgow, who I think was our starting defensive tackle. And I think that made the Indiana and the Minnesota games closer, because Indiana and Minnesota, that 2015 season, they gashed us on the ground in terms of the running game. And I think that losing Ryan Glasgow really, really hurt us that first year. I don't know if Ryan Glasgow would have made a difference against the Buckeyes that season, because the Buckeyes had most of their national title team back, so it was a lopsided game. But Jimmy's tenure has been riddled by injuries all throughout. There's no doubt about that. Wilton Speight hurt his back against Purdue. Rashawn Gary hurt his shoulder early in the revenge tour season. And then Tariq Black for most of the revenge tour season. He had broken his foot, so Tariq Black was out for most of that season. So injuries are all throughout sports. Coaching conflicts are all throughout sports. Sometimes you don't click with the coaches you're playing for or recruited by. Sometimes assistant coaches don't get a chance to do what they can do. Underneath my Harbaugh nepotism video, one of the commenters, it might have been Gary, shout out to Gary, I think one of them said that Tyrone Wheatley didn't have absolute control over the running backs group. And if you're an assistant, you should have absolute control over your position group. And Tyrone Wheatley was one of the Tyrone Wheatley sits on the Mount Rushmore of Michigan running backs. So why wouldn't you give Tyrone Wheatley absolute control over his position group? Alex, welcome. I can hear you.
You can hear me?
I can hear you. Welcome.
How you doing?
Good. How are you? What say you? That look says a lot. But
Okay.
but go for it.
Yeah, I didn't want to interrupt your you talking about Tyrone and
No, go for it.
And the running backs. I think there are a layer of problems that come along with the Michigan football team. So I've had this discussion with a couple people who cover Michigan. I'm an Ohio kid, so.
Which part?
Akron.
Okay, so LeBron James country.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I lived in Columbus for a couple of years, and now I'm in Florida. But so when you look at when you change regimes as much as they have, as often as they have,
yep.
There's been a lot of instability within the program. So, you're recruiting different types of kids every 4 to 5 years, which I think is a problem. That's probably the first thing. And with that being said, I think that definitely hurts recruiting. And I've had this discussion with a couple people, like I said, that cover Michigan football, and we've looked up, statistics in regards to rankings versus where these kids end up in the draft, etc. And I guess to kind of put it one way is that when kids are coming to Michigan, they're definitely coming there to be developed, but they're also coming for the education, because education at Michigan is second to none. Definitely willing to admit that. But a lot of players, when it comes to football, when they're coming to Michigan, they're typical regional 4-year kids, right? Very rarely do you see kids that come and get developed and leave within 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
Or you rarely see kids come in and they redshirt, play for 2 years, and they're gone.
Mhm.
That just doesn't. It's not happening right now. So, and I think that's partially because the caliber of kids that Michigan is recruiting. I also think that goes into the fact that they've had such instability over the past 15 years with the program. So you've gone like 3 different schemes in 15 years. That's it. That's a huge problem. Where at Ohio State, we had Jim Trussell. That happened when it happened. I thought it was ridiculous. But, you move from Jim Trussell and then you go to Urban Meyer. And now you have Ryan Day, and it's been complete consistency from that standpoint. I think that's a very, very big contributor to the gap between Michigan and Ohio State. I think that's the when you're looking at it schematically. I think that's I feel like you should start looking at it from that standpoint. So, do I feel that Jim Harbaugh is probably the best coach for Michigan? I don't, because I feel like he had a really amazing head assistant with him, and I feel like he struck gold at Stanford. I mean, he bankrolled that into other things and ended up at Michigan, eventually. But I don't think he's a top tier coach. I think he is a 9-10 year a season winning coach, which is not bad. Like, that's not, it's not bad at all. But when your arch rival is playing for a national championship basically every year, and when it comes to football, there's the Big Ten. I feel like there's the Big Ten, and then there's Ohio State. You have the ACC, and then you have Clemson. And then you have the SEC. You have Alabama, recently LSU, and Georgia sometimes, right? So, like, you pretty much primarily the best teams in the country they're about 5 teams. And then when Oklahoma is not a dumpster fire like it is right now. So, if you want to take that next step, I don't know what that next step would be for Michigan, but I would say if they're going to bring in somebody, he definitely needs to be innovative, probably younger, because I don't know if the antics that Jim does really plays with a certain level of recruits that he would like to get in order to get to where he needs to go. So somewhere, I would think someone along the lines of our Lincoln Riley. Maybe no, that guy's a dumpster fire too. Even the guy at Ole Miss, he's crazy as a bag of cats, but man, he just fires kids up. I can't think of the guy's name. He coached at Alabama, now he's coaching at Ole Miss. Just somebody who's young, innovative, relates to the kids. I mean, you're seeing that trend where, like, Tyron Wheatley, like, it's a good guy, man. He's a great running back, but I don't know if he's the guy that can really bring in the high level running backs. I don't know if, perfect example. I can't remember the kid's name, but Michigan had a defensive tackle like right outside of Detroit that ended up going to Alabama. That should never happen. Never, ever. That should never happen. And Ohio State and most states, like, their thing is, we're going to lock the state down first, and then we're going to go outside, where Michigan has not done that. I mean, Ohio State has snagged kids from Detroit all day, every day. That should never happen. I mean, Detroit, you have that Toledo line and whatnot, but, that's a rich Michigan area. And to be able to go in and snag kids, I don't think that should ever happen. And if you're ever expected to be in that conversation for the top programs in the country, you kind of have to start thinking a little differently.
Mm-hmm. Abdul Gaines said Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin, thank you. Yeah.
Okay. He knows the sports front and back. What's interesting is that I shot a video. Definitely the locking down the state of Michigan is, if you're the marquee program in the state, you got to do that. But also, over the years, the Michigan program was able to get players from Ohio. And Jim Brady Hoke somehow got players from Ohio. As ineffective as the program became under him, he was able to get Ohio players, and Jim hasn't really gotten any of note,
right?
Which is surprising.
I'm not surprised by that, though. I'm not surprised. I think that I don't think Jim Harbaugh is as well known on the coaching level as you guys think that he is.
Really?
I don't. No, not with recruits. No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
That is surprising.
I personally don't think that. When Ohio State has had its issues in regards to recruiting Ohio. In the past, you always have one-offs, right? So, if you have a kid, I'll put it like this: those kids that you're talking about that Brady Hoke got, they were up in the Toledo area, and we know what that's about.
Okay.
So that's Michigan country, even though it's in Ohio. Toledo is basically Detroit.
Okay.
So like that, those are going to happen. But you've also had the flip side where kids have started at Michigan, then have transferred to Ohio State. So, I think in regards to rivalry, it goes both ways. But again, like I said, I think that, he won at Stanford, but he didn't win big at Stanford.
Well, he wasn't there that long, right?
That's my point. So, like, when you have these flashes as opposed to consistency in one place, I don't think you're well known from a recruiting standpoint when you're recruiting kids as much as you guys think that he should be. I don't think that. You show him quick success and then you fail. But then, like, it's the success are like one-offs, like, right? You have like possibly the greatest college, like, NFL prospect ever in Andrew Luck. And then you strike gold with Colin Kaepernick, but that was a fad. I feel like if Jim was really as good as a coach as as you guys think that he is, he would have been able to adapt and develop Colin Kaepernick. Because Colin Kaepernick, he was the guy from the Baltimore Ravens. He was my brain is saying Patrick Mahomes, but he was Lamar Jackson before Lamar Jackson was Lamar Jackson, right? And we were able to see what his brother was able to do with that talent. But like you said before, Jim had his issues with the front office and things like that, and then they just basically tore down the team within like a year and a half. They just tore it straight to the ground. But I feel like if he's as good as the coaches we all think that he is, he would have been able to foresee that and change the way they play football all the way around, developing around Kaepernick versus not. And I feel like that's kind of what happened. Now, maybe that's an issue with the front office. I don't know. But from a coaching standpoint, they weren't very good after that. They were just okay.
And steadily every year, just like Colin, they kind of went down like this. And you wouldn't, for someone who played at Michigan, someone who played in the NFL, and I think he was Rich Gannon's quarterback's coach that year the Raiders went to the Super Bowl, lost to the Tampa Bay. Mm-hmm. You wouldn't have expected that. You would have expected for him to be steadily, at least to stay at that level, or at least when the team started atrophying around him, his play would have elevated somehow. Yeah. But we didn't see that. So
that's my point. Maybe, Bill Belichick always says you are what your record says that you are. Right. So, maybe it's just that, like, I think he's a solid head coach. Like Mike D'Antoni, he's going to win 9-10 games every year. He might get that bang recruit. Perfect example. He got Rashad Gary, number one player in the country. The guy didn't develop in 3 years, and he just decided to leave. Like I'm not gonna lie, when you guys got Rashad Gary, and I was like, oh man, like we might be in trouble. And nothing. I mean, I didn't see the development, and I think he's with Green Bay now. I mean, he plays sparingly, but like I don't see it. Like when you guys get top level talent, I don't see the utilization. I don't see the development at all. Mm-hmm. And I mean, it's an indictment on him because he picks his staff, but it's also an indictment on those coaches. So maybe, you keep what you have, but you go you just go in a different direction. Maybe they just need to hear a different voice. And, I mean, I would think that the guy from Clemson would probably be a good hire.
Dabo Sweeney?
No, the defensive coordinator from Clemson.
Who is that?
He was the defensive coordinator at Oklahoma. His name starts with a V. It's escaping me right now. But anyway, short story. Bob Stoops was the coach at Oklahoma. When Oklahoma had amazing defenses, this guy was the coach. Bob Stoops decided to bring in his brother to coach the defense, and then that guy went to Clemson, and 3 years later, Clemson wins the national championship. So,
hold on a second. I want to thank Zebedee Moultrie for the Cash App. Really appreciate that. See, you're okay. So you said Harbaugh had an assistant at Stanford. Who was that? And I know DJ Durkin came with him the first year, but you're not talking about DJ Durkin, are you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because then he ended up coaching Maryland, and then they had,
and that was the scandal where the kid died.
Yeah, and that was just tragic. That really derailed him. But DJ Durkin was awesome. He was great. Great coach. He had that incident, but things just happen.
Ann Arbor, 94. What's going on?
Hey, how y'all fellas doing, man?
How you doing?
Yeah, thanks for coming up.
No problem. I was just sitting here working, and I was listening to my man Alex, and he was making some very good points about everything. But growing up in the era of just being a Michigan kid from Flint, Michigan, all the way back to Veda Murray and Trip Wellborn and Tony Bowles, the biggest thing about Michigan football is we have to always stay connected to our lineage. Like, I don't ever want to separate from what Bo established. And so in that, I think Coach Harbaugh possesses that. I just think we have to give him time. We can't ignore the monster that Ohio is right now. Them, Clemson, Alabama, a few others, they recruit on a totally different level. So even though we're Michigan, even though our resources are expansive, our recruiting still isn't to the point of an Ohio or Clemson or Alabama. I remember all those years of Rich Rod. Michigan made a bowl 34 years straight. For a large portion of my life, I didn't even know that you needed 6 games to qualify for a bowl. That's how often we made a bowl. So I don't forget those times when we were down and I hadn't experienced anything like that. So Coach Harbaugh didn't come into a ready-made situation. Yeah, we're Michigan, but it takes time. I know it's been a while. I hate losing to Ohio. I absolutely loathe it. But you have to have somebody that has the passion to resolve that issue. It's taking longer than what we would want it to take, but it has to be a Michigan man that gets it done. So I don't think we can venture outside of that. And in that, who's any better than Coach Harbaugh? Our recruiting is better than I've seen it in a long time, and I don't want to lose that again for a transition that may or may not happen.
Oh, Alex, before you go,
mm-hmm.
I will say this: he's gotten the program back to a
respectable.
Under Brady, aside from that first year, the program was a doormat. It was we were in the trenches. We were getting pushed around and shoved around.
Bro, I live in Georgia. I live in SEC country. It was tough. Those were some tough times.
Yeah, I'm going to push back, and I think I'm going to push back on your theory. I think that's part of the problem with
the Michigan man.
It's an issue, man. Like, because I feel like I'm all about I'm a Buckeye. I am all about lineage, right? But I'm also about innovation, progression.
Yeah.
And if your pool of Michigan men is not as good as this guy over here who is ahead of his time and can go out and recruit, i.e. a Dabo Sweeney, who's, Ryan Day. Like, I think Ryan Day, no matter where you dropped him, he's gonna do what he's doing right now. He was eventually gonna get there. He doesn't have to be an Ohio State guy in order to do that. He just has to understand what the culture and what the history, and he has to understand that. So I feel like you're putting yourself in a box by that thinking. I feel like you can get a coach that completely understands the history and the culture of Michigan football. He doesn't have to go there. I don't think he has to go there because, you got millions of kids going to college every year. You don't want to subject yourselves to a couple 100,000. Is my point.
Okay. We're going to go for about 20 more minutes, then I got to shut it down. But the Michigan Man thing, that's a controversial aspect because, it's definitely, if you're a part of the Michigan fan base, there's a romanticism to it. There's a, Fielding Yost, Benny Osterbrand, Bo, we're going to keep it in the family. But the other question is, are we missing out on other innovative and effective coaches by sticking to that? And I think the program tried that with Rich Rod, but there were a couple of things that went sideways with that little experiment.
I think that the Rich Rod hire scared me.
Why?
Because I saw what he did to USC. And like I was like, okay, so I know where basketball on grass is coming, right? I know it's on the way. And I also know, I hated watching Jim Tressel coach because we had a great defense, and depending on the fact that you're going to have the best athlete on the field that's going to win you a game, I just think it's a terrible strategy, even though he won with it. But, when I saw Tate Forsey and Denard Robinson come on the scene, I was like, oh, buddy. We typically have the best athlete on the field, and it's a quarterback, but now they got two. Crap. And yeah, I was, I was a little bothered. I was like, if they're going to go in this direction, like, we're going to have to change some things. There are going to be some things that need to be changed. So I think that, again, I just, at the end of the day, if you're winning national championships, does it really matter?
No,
that's the question. Does it matter? Because, we won a national championship with Urban Meyer. He's an Ohio State guy. We're probably going to win one with Ryan Day this year. He's not an Ohio State guy. It doesn't matter because we're still winning. To me, it doesn't matter. To Michigan people, it might matter, but as long as we're winning, it doesn't matter who the coach is. It doesn't matter if he's from Alaska, Siberia, Russia, or Columbus. I don't care. As long as the guy can recruit, as long as the guy can coach, and we're winning. That's all that matters to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, winning is definitely important, but at what cost? Again, we went through a period where we were 5-7, 2-9. I don't want to go back to there. How can we be assured that the coach down there at Clemson can get it done? Now we're regressing again. I think we just stay the course with Coach Harbaugh and we'll be fine.
Okay.
Well, then the question is, where does the road lead?
There obviously has to be somebody out there that you guys have to go get. That's just a no-brainer, right? It's a no-brainer. So, you could ride the Jim train. I think I think the revenge tour is as good as it's going to get with Michigan and with
No. Give me Joe Milton this year and next year. This year, Coach Harbaugh gets a pass. Next year, regardless of what me or any of the contingency think, you talk about 0-7, 0-8 against Ohio, bro, and I wouldn't care who it is. The search will become more exhaustive and expansive.
I mean, it's coming though. I just, you're. I mean, let's just put it out on the table. They're not going to win this year. They're not. You don't have the horses. Like the entire team would have to get COVID. Like it's just not going to happen. I mean,
after the last two seasons, I don't have much of a leg to stand on, my man. After the last two seasons, I got nothing.
Like, let's just let's keep it straightforward. I think it's a problem next year. I think it's probably an even bigger problem next year because you guys might have Joe Milton, right?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And a lot of speed coming. A lot of speed already there.
Okay.
Second year of this offense. This is year 2 now.
No, that's great. I mean, I think the fact that he hired a coach that never saw his offense run, whatever. But you guys are playing catch up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the caliber of talent that we're bringing in is better than what it was with Urban Meyer.
Bro,
right?
Bro, that freshman receiver Fleming, oh my God, he's like a 6'2" baby Odell, man.
He's not even the best.
Oh my God. Don't say that.
He's not. He's not even the best one. That's what, so
that hurts.
And I'm just, the issue that Ohio State really had was on the offensive line, right? They have shored that up. They have completely shored that up. The defensive line, we're just turning out first round picks. Our issue is linebackers. We've addressed that. And our DB class, if you watch the DB class, I mean, we're just turning out first round picks like this. Like, it's a fact. We're a factory right now. So like, it's gonna take so much time to be able to recruit, and I don't know if the coaching staff is up to the challenge.
Definitely player development has been a problem. Absolutely.
So I don't know. That's a big issue. Like I was saying, I'm sure you heard me say, you guys got Rashad Gary, and I think that was like one of his first recruits. And I was just like, is this what we're doing right now? Like, we're gonna have a game? No, we're not, because he did absolutely nothing. But you see somebody somebody on the flip side who wasn't as, I mean, he was high recruited, but Chase Young is Chase Young. But like, you saw the development of Chase Young, you see the development of Rashad Gary. It's like night and day. Like Rashad Gary, from what I have seen in high school, like he probably should have ended up being better than Chase Young. But I mean, I'll put it out there. So
6'5", 280, 4.6 speed, I believe. Yeah, he didn't come on the way that I thought he would.
No, not at all. So again, I like you said, it's definitely a problem. I don't know if the staff is up to the challenge. I don't know. I just think there's a multitude of problems that are going on in that program. I mean, every program has its problems, but again, I really think that if you get out of the way of thinking of just having a Michigan guy, and he might be the best option right now, right? But if he ends up not being the best option down the line, what are you guys going to do? Are you're gonna roll the dice with him because he's already lost? Let's just call it 7, right? If he loses 8, then what? I mean, and it's not like I feel like where you guys are at. If you're winning 9 games a year, you wait until you get the slam dunk hire that's going to take you from 9 to 10 to a college football playoff or to a Big Ten. No, to beating Ohio State. Yeah, that would be the first step.
First and foremost.
You got to beat Ohio State, because once you do that, typically the way the conference looks right now, if you beat Ohio State, you're going to win the Big Ten championship, and you're probably going to get the playoff. So, like, that should be the goal. And I don't know, again, like I said, I don't know if the staff that's currently constructed under Jim Harbaugh is able to do that. Because, and the thing is, we're not going after the same recruits either. That's a big thing. We are not recruiting the same at all. I think one guy that we were recruiting, he was from Michigan, ended up one of the offensive tackle, because offensive tackle was like crazy this year for us with the pandemic. But there was maybe one or two guys that we were recruiting, and then we stopped recruiting one. He ends up going to Michigan. We were looking at one kid, a running back, who went from Michigan.
Donovan Edwards.
Yeah, but we ended up getting the other kid from Virginia.
I think you guys ended up getting 2 5-star recruits, and so that basically put him on our lap. We haven't closed the deal, but thanks.
But like once we're, I think at one point in time, I felt like, and I'll take this all the way back to Terrell Pryor. When Terrell Pryor was coming out of school, he was the number one player in the country, right?
I remember.
Michigan didn't have a shot in HE double hockey sticks of landing this kid. Ohio State had an outside shot. Penn State was the front runner. We went in and got him.
Yeah.
So, eventually to get to where you guys want to be, you have to be in the room, and you guys aren't even in the room right now.
Yeah, not even. I agree on some recruits here and there, but man, the majority that you guys are recruiting are 5 and 4. I don't see many 3s on you guys' list.
Yeah,
and we take a lot of 3s, and at this point we're just not coaching them up. So,
but that's the thing.
Ohio's always had better talent.
Yeah,
we've always had better talent, but we did a better job of development.
Yeah, but it's almost like that movie Moneyball, right? Like what my man said, he said that you got teams that are here, there's 50 feet of crap, and then there's us, right? Well, you guys are like right here, and we're here. And if you know that you're not going to get the caliber of kids that Ohio State, Clemson, Alabama, LSU are getting, then you need to get coaches that are great at developing. It's not happening. Like, it's just not happening.
Not to this point. Not to this point.
I would say what's his name? Ohio State has 3-star recruits, and they end up being 1st and 2nd round picks. So all the 5s and 4 stars at Ohio State don't necessarily work out.
Don't pan out, yeah.
But we develop, and there's competition because you're playing against the best every day.
Yeah.
And like I said, if you know you're not going to get the kid, then you need to get the coach to coach the kid up. It's a simple, and that's kind of how you work your way from that standpoint. So, yeah, I'm done rambling.
Okay. Well,
yeah. Steep hill to climb, man. Well said, steep hill to climb, but I think we can get there.
It's possible, and I would like to get there. I would like to get back to 2007, I think it was, when you guys were 1 and we were 2, or you were 2 and we were 1. One of the best games I've ever seen. I think it was 2007.
Yeah, absolutely. And that horrible mosh feel. Yeah.
That was the Sean Crable targeting.
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
But even as much as people from Ohio hate Michigan, like, I was at that game.
Oh, you were?
Yeah, I was at that game. I just moved to Columbus from Virginia. I just got the military. I was at that game, and it was, yeah, we might hate you guys, but like, that's historic.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's an historic time. And like, I feel like for all of us, I will speak for Buckeye Nation. I'm one of one, but I will speak for all of us. It's fun when we beat you and we don't feel like it's easy.
Yeah. It's like it's like the Lakers being good or Boston being good, and they're both good at the same time.
It's just good for college football all around. When both teams,
you could talk about all the rivalries you want, but it doesn't. Auburn, Alabama is not even in the same stratosphere as Ohio State, Michigan. Not even close. So when you guys are great and we battle, it's the best thing. It's great for the whole country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey,
2018 was pretty good. 2000. I think they should have measured. But that was a pretty good one.
No, that was just the staff miss schemed for that. I blame the staff on that one. Leo, yeah, I believe we have Leo asked, is Alex an Ohio State fan? Yes, we have a member of the Buckeye Nation here, but all fans from other bases are welcome here. So as long as everyone plays nice, he's been playing nice.
Oh yeah, no, I am in it for. I'm not gonna lie, I'm in it for the rivalry and I'm in it for the history.
Yeah,
it's not fun. It's not fun. Like, I mean, I hope that we're not like the Clippers where we just kind of overlook the team in front of us.
Yeah.
But you know, as of right now, we're like, okay, we look at a schedule. Win, might struggle. Win. Last game of the year, win. Big Ten championship, win. Okay, now we really have to go play because now we're playing for the national championship, and it shouldn't be that way.
Yeah,
it shouldn't. It really shouldn't. So,
quick announcement. We're gonna go for 10 more minutes. My Cash App is right there if anyone wants to donate. If this is your first time here, please like the video. Please subscribe to the channel. Please share and please come back. This has been a successful live stream, I believe. So we're going to go for about 10 more minutes. If you guys want to give parting takes, parting shots, Alex, you pretty much gave yours the entire time. But I'll start with this. I'll let you guys go. Someone under one of my videos said, "You guys aren't our rival anymore. Clemson is our rival."
Actually, I said that.
Oh, that was you?
Yeah, that was me.
All right. Wow. So if you guys want to give parting shots, go ahead. Go for it.
I think the speed and space is the innovation that we need. I can see the difference in the type of recruits that we're bringing in now. The Blake Corums, the AJ Hennings out of Illinois. We got a kid from California, 6'2" kid, runs 10.5 in the 100 meters. So I think that at some point you're not going to be able to recruit at the level of Clemson, Alabama, or Ohio. So outside of being a Florida team where 75% of your roster comes from inside of the state, I think you're going to have to kind of tweak it to where there's a bit of a niche. Defensively, we look like a Michigan defense until we play Ohio State at the end of the year, and that's a bit concerning. I think Daxton Hill is a player that can, because we always have like that one standout player that gets us over this hump, whether it be Charles Woodson or Desmond. You know, we collectively have a good team, but there's always that one player, Braylon Edwards, and you know, we just haven't had that in a while. We thought it was going to be Jabril. He wasn't able to get it done. Came close, but didn't get it done. So. I think moving forward, we just have to continue to stay the course, and hopefully we can get it done this year as well as hopefully next year, Joe's second year.
Well, I would say don't put all your eggs in the Joe Milton basket.
I love Joe, man. I've been waiting for him.
You know what? I'm sure he's a great kid. I'm 100% sure he's a great kid. There's a reason why he's at Michigan and not at Florida.
Think so?
Yes.
I mean, he wasn't a 5-star. He was only a 4-star.
Again, there's a reason why he wasn't at Florida, why he's not at Georgia, why he's not at LSU. Like there are reasons why he's.
Well, I'm in the South, so I have to take exception to that because there are kids here who marvel at the things that go on in the Big Ten. We just have to give them a reason to come up to the Big Ten.
Absolutely. I mean, Ohio State. I mean, we live in Jackson. I live in Jacksonville. This is Ohio State's area. Sean Wade goes to school like 10 miles from where I live.
We just had a kid decommit from Florida State, Brandon Jennings, a high 4-star out of Florida. So again, I haven't seen recruiting at this level in quite some time. So I don't want to regress from this.
No, I mean I don't either. I'm just saying, you know, there's a reason why he's at Michigan.
I didn't follow his recruiting that closely, so I don't know. But I saw his highlights from high school, and I knew then that he was a special athlete. So
he's definitely a special athlete. He definitely. I mean, it's kids from Florida, man. I mean, it's a different breed. It's a different breed of football down here.
Absolutely. It's religion. It's religious.
I think he should have been given the chance to play a couple of years ago. I think that's a key coaching blunder on Jim's part.
I mean, I definitely want to see what the kid has. 100%. I would say this. So I would equate it to similar to Justin Fields, right? Here's the difference between Joe Milton and Justin Fields. They might be the same player, 100% across the board. They might be let's say they're the exact same. The difference is the infrastructure of development and the players around him will allow him to excel. So at one point in the season last year, Justin Fields is balling out of his mind, but you forget we have a ridiculous offensive line. We have innovative coaches that they just recruit at a high level and develop. And we had a very veteran wide receiver group. And we had a 2,000-yard rusher. I always forget about that. So it allowed him to develop, where the development for Joe Milton is going to go very, very differently.
Oh yeah, it's got the whole program on his shoulders. I know
it's going to be bumps and bruises first. I mean, I hope he's good, but you guys are making it seem like he's freaking Cam Newton, and
he's going to have to be for us to get a win against y'all. He's going to have to be special.
How many Cam Newtons have been Cam Newton?
Well, I think
that is one of one forever.
I think the comparison is his measurables. You never know how the kid play once he's out there.
Right. Absolutely.
But I mean, a lot of it, like I said, in the infrastructure for Ohio State is there. It's not there for Michigan, so the development is going to go very differently. Especially you're running that almost basketball on grass type deal. Spreading it out. Sideline to sideline, which I think is great. The problem with that is that we have all the corners to cover your wide receivers, so that's kind of a moot point for us anyway.
The power run game is a portion. We can't run the ball as poorly as we did last year. I mean, we still heavy run as well.
Yeah,
Alex, hold on. I think my best performing video was the Josh Gaddis video. There were a lot of drop balls last year from our guys. There were a lot of.
Oh my goodness!
I mean,
the one Ronnie Bell dropped against Penn State was big.
I think what is his name? Kenny Bell? Is that his name?
Ronnie Bell.
Yeah. I mean, the dude reminds me of Des Bryant. He can't catch a slant, but he can catch anything that's double covered. Like,
yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, he caught some really big balls last year. I was like, man, like these dudes are like good. Like,
yeah, he dropped the one against Penn State though. That was huge. After mounting that big comeback, and he drops it in the end zone.
Right, but what really alarms me is that you have those wide receivers. I think one opted out and one left, right? Texas.
Go to
Texas, which
Tariq Black is at Texas now, and Nico opted out.
I really wish I would have been in his ear because I'd have been like, "Don't do that. They suck." But so that draws a little bit of pause from my side in regards to why do you have guys leaving the program?
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So, like, if this kid is as good as you guys think that he can be, why are they leaving? And why are they opting out?
I got no answer for that. And Nico, I think it would have helped his stock tremendously to play this year because his receivers, the two kids down in Alabama, just to mention a couple, that have much higher draft grades. So I can't understand why he wouldn't, play this year. So again, baffling.
Yeah, I think Nico Collins is really good. I don't think Nico Collins is as good as our number 2 wide receiver at Ohio State. And he's a sophomore.
Okay. Well, gentlemen, on that note, I have to close down. I really appreciate you guys watching. I really appreciate you guys coming up on the panel because these live streams are better when they're interactive. So I hope to see you guys again.
Absolutely.
Going out here, if anyone hasn't, please click the like button and please subscribe to the channel. Hey, good luck to everyone's team. Good luck to our team.
See you in December. It'll be
yeah,
fun.
well, yep. It's coming. It's inevitable.
Yeah.
Hey, nice to have Big Ten football back, baby. I got a big Saturday playing tomorrow.
I know. And I'm gonna jump off here. I'm actually gonna get back to work myself. So
Yeah, likewise. Take care, fellas.
All right, guys. Peace out.
all right.
Hey, everyone.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Yeah.
You want to give us a go, Bucks, before you go?
Nope.
Go ahead. Do it. Do it. Last chance.
OH. That's all I'm gonna say.
All right. Everyone, thanks for watching. Again, if you haven't clicked the like, hit the like, please subscribe. And I will either go live again tomorrow night or on Sunday morning to talk about, hopefully, a Michigan victory. Thank you for watching. Go Blue. And as always, remember that your attitude determines your altitude. Take care, and I'll talk to you again soon. All right. Bye-bye.